All right, guys, so we're finishing the review sheet today. I think okay. All right, guys, so we finished up on problem 53 yesterday, is where we stopped. So are there any questions on problem number 54? 54. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, are there questions on 57 or 58? We know, guys. Thank you. Since 58 is an isosceles triangle, we know the base angles are congruent. So since this angle is 61, it means this angle is also 61. So Z is equal to 61 degrees. Now the non-base angles in trapezoids are supplementary. They add up to be 180. So we can say x plus 61 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. So we can subtract 61 from both sides, telling us x is equal to 119. So this is 119 degrees. And it works out that these two base angles are congruent. So it means y is also 119 degrees. I guess it worked. Yeah. Any other questions on 57 or 58? Because if it's not isosceles like 57, then the base angles aren't congruent. But the non-base angles will still add up to be 180. Questions on 59 or 60? Question on the problem 59 or 60? 60 is a kite, and the diagonals of a kite are perpendicular, which tells us that the measure of angle 1 is going to be 90. 3. Measure of angle 4. So we have 5 angles that we're trying to find. Now in the top triangle here we have 40, 90, and the measure of angle 3. Well, those 3 angles will add together to be 180, because 90 plus 40 plus x is going to equal 180. 90 plus 40 is 130. Exactly. Minus 130 from both sides tells us x is equal to. So the measure of angle 3 is 50 degrees.
I have a question.
Yes.
Instead of like having to make it all equal 180, just like take the 90 off and make it equal 90.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Because the acute angles in a right triangle do add together to be 90. Now the angles between the non-congruent sides are congruent. So this whole angle is congruent to 5 and 2. So angle 4 plus 40 is the same as angle 5 plus angle 2. And it works out that this angle here is going to be the same as this one here. So angle 2 is going to be 40. And whatever angle 5 is going to be the same as angle 4. So 50 plus 90 plus 4 is equal to 180, but it is also still a right triangle. So we could say angle 4 plus 15 is equal to 90. Either way works. So we say the measure of angle 4 plus 15 degrees plus 90 is 180. Well, 15 plus 90 is 105. Minus 105 from 180. And we get that x is. So the measure of angle 4 is 75, which means the measure of angle 5 is also 75. So that's it there. Any other questions on 60? Questions on 61 or 62? '61 and 62 are just the same as 60 for both kites. So we can't say the base angles are congruent, but the non-base angles add up to be 180. Yes. Yeah. I keep remembering that it is, and then I forget about it. Yeah. Miss McClendon pointed out this morning, Miss McClendon, when I left the room this morning, and then by the time I got here, I had two other things on my mind, and I just forgot about it. I realized that after lunch that I had it that way, and made it this far. We're going to keep going. Yeah. When me and Cherry work out in the morning, we change and still in the locker room, so I curl them up so I don't get the bottoms of them wet. I know at least two plates on or a plate on either side, and then I think max out at about a 10 and a 5 on it, so plate 10 and a 5, something like that. Questions on 63 or 64? 64. So we know that this is a kite because we have two sets of consecutive congruent sides. The angles between the non-congruent sides are congruent. So these two angles are going to be congruent, which means this is 10. Since it's a four-sided figure, the sum of the interior angles is 360. All right, guys, so we set this equal to 360. Now we can combine like terms. So our 110 plus 110 plus 30 is 250. So we have 250 plus x is equal to. So we can minus 250 from both sides. And incidentally, x is, yes. Any other questions on 63 or 64? Questions on 63 and 64? Yes.
You said all quadrilateral add up to 360, right?
Yes. Because quadrilateral is going to be four sides, four-sided figures. So our n minus 2 times 180. So 4 minus 2 times 180. So that's 2 times 180, which is. So any four-sided figure is going to be 360. That's one, that in triangles, normally we just say triangles 180, quadrilateral is 4 sides, 360. Because even with 3 sides, for a triangle, 3 minus 2 is 1, and 1 times 180 is 180. And 4-sided quadrilaterals or triangles, we use them so much, we just get them memorized that it's triangles 180, quadrilaterals 360. Because once we get past that, doing hexagons, octagons, nonagons, we don't do those enough to really have that memorized too often, but we do normally get these here. Questions on 65 through 68. 66. So the mid-segment is equal to, the mid-segment is equal to half the sum of the other 2 sides, top and bottom. Now for this here, our mid-segment is x is equal to 1/2 of 7.9 plus 12.4. Now all this here is numbers, yes? We can plug it in. Now, if we added them together, it would be 0.3, carry the 1, 20.3. And if we take half of 20.3, be 10.15. Now in the calculator, we can say 1/2 parentheses 7.9 plus 12.4. Hit enter, and we get 10.15, 10.15. And again, the mid-segment's length should be between the other 2 sides. So the mid-segment here should be between 7.9 and 12.4. If we find one of the sides, it should either be bigger or smaller than the mid-segment corresponding. So for 65, we should expect whatever the value of x to be between 4 and 12. So if I get 16, that's not the correct answer. The mid-segment has to be between them. So half of 4 plus 12. Well, 4 plus 12 is 16, and half of 16 is Any other questions on 65 or 66? We go to 6. No, this is. Huh? Yes. We ready for 67? 67. So the mid-segment is equal to the sum of the 2 bases. So the mid-segment should be the middle length, yes? Should x, the value of x, be smaller or bigger than 11.3? Bigger, because the other side's already smaller, yes? So that's one thing we know for sure. Now, according to the formula, the mid-segment, 11.3, is equal to 1/2 of the sum of the 2 bases. One of the bases is x, the other is 4.2. Now, what we can do first is multiply both sides by 2. Because if x is one of the bases, might as well go on and multiply both sides by 2. Because 2 times 1/2 is 1. They simplify out, which just leaves us with x plus 4.2. Now 11.3 times 2 is 22.6. And there's the other base. Nice job. Yeah. I'm just glad you got it done. Questions on 67? We get 67 now? Questions on 68? The 67 and 68 are essentially the same thing. Questions on 69, 70, 71, or 72? Yes. Because all four of these are essentially the same thing. The only difference between 71 and 69 and 70 is that 69 and 70 have a number for one of the three spots. 70 and 72 have variables across all three. But if we look at 71, the mid-segment's length is given to us by x plus 15. The mid-segment's length, x plus 15, is equal to half the sum of the two bases. So 3x plus 7 plus 9x plus 9. Questions on how we set this up? Yes, because the mid-segment's equal to half the sum of the two bases. Now, the first thing we can do here is combine like terms. So 3x plus 9x is 12x. Plus 7 plus 9 is 16. Now, at this point here, we can multiply both sides by 2. Because here the 2 and 1/2 will cancel, leaving us with 12x plus 16. The other side we'll have to distribute the 2. 2 times x is plus 2 times 15 is 30. Subtract 2x from both sides, telling us that 30 is equal to 10x plus 16. Page. Then we can minus 16 from both sides, telling us that 10x is equal to, last but not least, so x is equal to, so here it just asks for the value of x, so that's all we need to do. If we wanted to plug it back in, we could and find the values, but we don't have to. Any questions on this here? Yes. This? Because we're multiplying this whole thing by 1/2. Now this one here, back up. Is 12 and 16 divisible by 2? So what's 1/2 of 12? So we can subtract x. 15 is equal to 5x plus 8. Minus 8 from both sides. 7 is equal to 5x. Divide both sides by 5. 7 divided by 5 is now, this here is nice to do as long as both of the numbers or both of the terms inside the parentheses are divisible by 2. Otherwise, we'll get halves. to have to work with. We get decimals. Because if they're not, if one of them's odd or both of them's odd, it's easier to just do the multiplication of 2 and go from there because you'll get the same answer. Yes.
Totally off topic, but why did it smell like the milk?
I do not know.
Like if you're chalkboard,
Any other question on any other part of the review sheet? So, you have the rest of the time to work on any missing assignments you have, finish up any of the review sheet that you haven't got finished. Your test, unfortunately, is on Monday.